I'm now introducing our wonderful Lissa Coffey with. We're going to be talking together here about Aflame and Unafraid. Lissa, are you there?
I'm
Thank you,
here.
Bill. Yes.
I love being here with you all.
And
My
this is more perfection, having you with us. And I just want to do and Bill sounds fabulous, by the way. He sounds absolutely fabulous, Spencer, and everybody else doing sound here. So the talk is about Aflame and Unafraid, and I did want to do a just a little pitch, not a pitch. Is I love your fourth Sunday 10 a.m. Vedanta class, and I invite everybody to ask us for the information or get it from Constant Contact, because it is worth the price of admission. It is great. It sets us up on a wonderful Sunday morning. So Aflame and Unafraid, for those who were magnificent fans of Amanda Gorman, who is now the new poet laureate for the White House, the first poet laureate for the White House. She's a Harvard graduate. And after the insurgency, she went to sleep and woke up and wrote that whole thing like in the snap of a moment there. And we may have our Pleasant Valley poet laureate buzz, but she swept the nation. And it was about, we are rising up and we continue to rise up. But we have, in my opinion, it's in that rising up. We need to continue to be open and receptive, to open up and continue to be inspired for new ideas, new changes that are coming. We have been so isolated, and some of us don't want to change, even before the isolation and after the isolation. And I don't want myself to become complacent. I want to continue to open up and grow.
Beautiful. And you know, when I saw that this was our topic, Aflame and Unafraid, I thought, okay, what does this mean? Like the house is on fire, but you're not scared? I mean, I wanted to look at the first word, aflame, first. Because when you think of the qualities of fire, the fire is hot, right? It's sizzling. And fire has the qualities of both heat and light. And fire itself is neither good nor bad. Fire it's all in how you use it, right? It's all in how you control it. So fire can like cook your dinner and heat your home, or it can, destroy things. In Vedanta, we talk a lot about control, in that we need to control our desires. And if you listen to any 90s song, like by the Backstreet Boys or whatever, they always talk about fire and desire. they go together, fire and desire. But you have to control fire and you have to control desire. And how do you do that? Well, Krishna says in the Gita, you must have control over the whims of body and mind. Take some time in solitude to bask in the divine. So Krishna is advising us to meditate and to self-reflect and to contemplate and to, control our desires, control our senses, and understand what's really important in life. And when we do that, the fire within us, that's always within us, can serve and provide and create and do all kinds of great stuff. I'm so glad that you brought up Amanda Gorman, because she set the world on fire in a good way with her words. And she ended it by saying, if we're only brave enough to see the light, if we're only brave enough to be the light, and that is who we are. And we will be able to be brave enough to be the light when we know who we are. So I just thought she was amazing, and how inspiring for someone who's just 22 years old to be so wise and to have had such an influence over the world, really, in such a short time. How long was that speech? Maybe 4 minutes or something? She made a big impression. So she's the way you can be, a good demonstration of the way you can be on fire and aflame in such a good way.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do this whole poem, nor was I, but I do have it here. And it's so interesting because it dovetails with what you said about teachings, the teachings of to see beyond any kind of crisis and hold that high watch for all. And this is part of the poem, and I'll end with Aflame and Unafraid, which you just did. But scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we have made. That hill will climb if only we dare to climb. And so it is so interesting, and it says to not to go back. She has a line about not going back, but one of the things is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. We can do that. We can change our children's birthright. And I'm just going to end so that everybody knows what we're talking about, because it was that last line you said, where she said, again, that sense of spiritual purpose is, to what she said, is to be aflame and unafraid, to step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it, and only if we're brave enough to be it. And she is that inspiration. Again, there's one in a million that come along like this, that do this, like a Maya Angelou or someone, but her passion and her youth just was the shining light, I thought, of the inauguration.
Yeah, a lot of people are comparing her to Maya Angelou, and
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah, including Oprah Winfrey, who gave her a ring to wear as she was reading the poem of a caged bird, to have like the title of Maya Angelou's book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And so that she felt Maya Angelou's presence with her during that time. So that was really remarkable.
Right. And she, in that poem, and I don't know the exact words, she said that when we are in the middle of a conflict of some sort, these aren't her words, that when we grieve, as long as when we're grieving, we're growing. That is what's so important, that as we hurt, that we do not become tired and give up in the hurt and pain. We go beyond, and because we are tied, obviously, we know this, we've said it over and over and over again, that we are forever tied in that evolutionary, that loop that goes outward and onward, awakens us and goes higher and higher and higher in our consciousness. And just seeing from your class this morning, and I don't want to reference because other people haven't seen it, is that when we reference that light, that when we look and we see the light, even when we close our eyes, so to speak, in our memory banks, in that mind that is trained to see the light instead of the dark, I think that's a wonderful key to happiness and success.
Absolutely. And I think that brings us to the unafraid part, because when we're unafraid, we are fearless. We are not fearful. And what's the opposite of fearful? Faithful. Betty Ann was talking about this too, fear and faith. Being faithful is being full of faith. It's having that trust in God. It's having that trust in the universe, Brahman, however you want to name this universal spirit, knowing that even if we're seeing something that looks to us through our human eyes to be terrible, that it's going to be okay, that things happen, everything is temporary, but what continues is that spirit, that universal energy, that thread that connects all of us throughout time and places. There's no there's no time and space in spirit. We're all this one. We're all together. So Krishna says to Arjuna in chapter 2 of the Gita, he says, you can control your actions, so do your very best. You can't control the outcome. Trust Brahman to do the rest. So if we focus on what we can control and do our best and see the light and bring the best of us into it, knowing who we are and what we have to offer the world, fantastic. But then we have to also work unattached to the results, knowing that somehow it's going to work out for the best, that we're all going to be okay.
You know, our wonderful Betty Ann, and we have this on our wall at the center, which we don't gaze at very often because we've been gone since March because of COVID. But her wonderful line is, my life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. And we all say that now. And it's so true that we don't know the details. And that is why when we do treatment or prayer, affirmative prayer, I always say this or something greater. And you talked about not being caught up in the moment, and in that knowing that our lives are unfolding perfectly no matter what. I read, I hope this is not a non sequitur, but I don't think it is. I read from a new book I just got, The New Thought Revolution. And he talks about a story about Ernest Holmes, who founded Science of Mind. And just before Ernest Holmes left, and literally left the planet too, he was already unhappy because there were politics going on that he was not happy with. And he had just lost his wife 2 years previous before he made his transition, his wife Hazel, who he loved a lot. But there was something else happening that I did not know. And it's in this book. And what happened is, after Hazel made her transition, and he was still always a searcher, and he was open at the top. He said over and over again, if I came back 50 years from now and nothing had changed, I would have failed miserably. And he also, so he got in an argument, or not an argument, but a discussion with one of the board members who was wanting this change to come down and keep everything as it was in Science of Mind. And he said, no, this is a growing consciousness that we are all part of. And he had fallen in love with Sri Aurobindo, the teacher from India. I thought this was amazing. And he was teaching a lot of classes at the center, at the church, the Founders Church, Church of Religious Science at that point in Los Angeles. And he was teaching Sri Aurobindo classes exclusively. He was just so impassioned by all of this. And one of the board members said, you've got to stop this. You're not teaching Science of Mind anymore. And he said, it's not even like the church anymore. And he said, first of all, he said, I am the church. And I wrote that textbook 30 years ago. And I am so happy that I am open and receptive to learning new Eastern ideas. And I thought that was an amazing story and very affirmative about a man who wanted all of the philosophies of the world in that unity to come together and enlighten us.
And the best thing is, he's walking his talk. He's saying all paths lead to God, and he's showing it himself. He's not saying, my book, the way I wrote it, is the be all end all. He's saying, the world is changing, and we can change and adapt with the world. And there are a lot of different ways of looking at that mountain that we're all climbing up. We're all coming in at it from different angles, and some people are taking the very crooked, hard, steep path, and other people are just meandering away in the nice little easy path. And there's everything in between. So yeah, what a great inspiration for all of us to say, remain open-minded, find inspiration and spirituality wherever you are, with whoever you're with.
Yeah. And so it is interesting when you said that, because part of her poem, I am sure, said something like, we close the divide in all areas. First of all, I just want to digress here for just a moment. When people talk about spirituality, it is not separate. Spirit is who we are. And when we come from that place, first and foremost, and listen to our consciousness and know that what is right and right makes might, as we say, then it goes into everything. Spirituality permeates everything. And so again, I have really simple guidelines I've always told everyone, is that you go into which is not divisive. You go into that which is inclusive. And what is more inclusive right now is having those conversations about what divides us right now in this wonder. And so she said something about, don't let our gazes stand between us, but what stands before us as we stand in this moment. What can we fix now is what I got from this. What can we do to close the divide? Because we have to put what our vision, we all had this vision that COVID would happen and clear up, and I think it's going to clear up even faster. There's now everybody is, the controversy is we're not getting the shots fast enough. And I think the intention is already set. And I think the details are being, what you said so brilliantly, the details are being now given to health workers and health practitioners who are extremely brilliant on how, and also planners, all of those organizers and planners of how to get these shots to the American people, as other countries have done, rapidly. And so I think that we have the vision. We all envisioned that life would be in less conflict in this moment. And to me, it appears that way. And so I'm going with the appearance of less conflict. And also I'm going with the knowing that instead of now bringing down the concern again, the fear, and feeding the fear, I'm going with, we came this far, we have the vision, the COVID vaccine is now going to get into the arms of people, and it's going to be easier than all this fear. I'd rather be pulled by the faith of knowing this than pushed by the fear of saying, oh my God, we don't have enough. You know, there's never enough. There is more than enough. We are in this world that is absolutely gives us everything that we can envision. So I hold my gaze higher in the moment, but hold it higher than the fear that people are now injecting in to society again about there's not enough.
Right. And that's the perfect combo. You know, we do what we can do and take action. You know, like Krishna always encourages Arjuna, take action, do what you can do. And at the same time, though, have faith. Have faith in the process and the system and the people who are doing their jobs, who know what to do, and they are doing their part, right? So we can't be sitting there wringing our hands if there's, you know, there's nothing I can do to get somebody a shot faster, but I can just hold that high watch, hold that faith that everything is working out perfectly the way it should, and that we're all going to be taken care of because God's got our back.
I agree. And always, the only thing that never changes is that divine source. And when we envision and speak our words into that, what could possibly hold us back? Nothing can prevail that is evil, or what, there is no evil, but what the consequences or the fear is. And we're not going to go back. We can't go back. We never go back. So we're not going back. We're always going to be moving forward in this envisioning. And so why waste your time with digging up, old fears, and let's just move and see and support that which is already being laid, the foundation that is already being laid right here and right now, as we hold our consciousness in that higher light, in that higher vision, and not be held back in any way with our fear, or a fear of consciousness that is still sweeping the country, so to speak.
That's right. Fill your glass with faith. Be faithful and
Oh,
fear
I love
less.
that.
Fear
I get,
less, faithful.
yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, it's really interesting that even when joy is given, there are some who still hold on to what was. and what it's not there anymore. A year ago, nothing is the same. And now as we come out of this, nothing is the same. I think we're going to grow exponentially in our spirituality, which is the everythingness. Our spirit, everything comes from spirit divine, God, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you want to call the thing itself, the only Brahman, everything, it comes from that one source. And my understanding of source is that for it to know itself, it gave us this free will. And through will, by means of that divine source, we are that aspect of it going out. We are not robots. We are not clones. And so we have that free will to continue to express its highest once we open up to its highest and good that is waiting for us to open up to it. It's light.
Yeah, it's all about the choices that we make, and again, it's about having that self-control over our desires, over our fears. What are we choosing to feel? Are we choosing to feel fear, or are we choosing to feel faithful? you know Going into meditation, taking that time in solitude, allows the divine to speak to us, and it's very comforting. It gives us this feeling of optimism and a feeling of confidence, not
Yes.
just self-confidence because we know who we are, but confidence in knowing that there's this higher power that is supporting all the best of us, all that's good and right in the world.
Yes. And connecting us. And so when we all we have to do too, it's really interesting, and I'm doing a meditations this week on the disciplines of spirituality because I finally got it takes discipline to stay on that path. As I always say, we're all going to get there. You can take the high road or the low road. We're all going to get there. And some of us get there through addictions, because it hides that it's fake nirvana. It just is the blanket that covers, the truth of being. And I say, I have no judgments about things like this at all. I say, do what you can, but always know that you're going to get there eventually once you're brave enough to figure out who you were. And as she said, only if we're brave enough to see it, and only brave enough to be it. That takes a lot of courage to look at what is within us and what can be in that visionary process, and then
Yeah.
go from there. But it takes discipline, Lissa. It takes really a lot of discipline.
Yeah, I have all these Krishna quotes today, but they're so perfect for this. He says, it might be in this lifetime, it might be in another, but you're going to eventually see we are all joined in the mother.
Oh,
We're
I
going to see
love
it.
that. And
We're,
that is from your interpretation, which
yeah,
can
yeah.
you share a little bit about can you share anything about what's happening
Oh,
with,
okay. Well, this is really cool because I haven't seen you guys since the start of the new year. But what I started was a video series of Song Divine. So we're taking the Gita verse by verse, day by day, sometimes 2 verses a day, so that we can make it through the whole year. But from day 1 to day 365, I started on January 1st. We're going to end on December 31st. We're going to go through the Gita day by day, and it's only like 2 minutes in each video, and it's a great way to start your day, and to like I do the verse and then I do a little commentary, and each verse kind of builds on the other, but you can start wherever you want to start too. So, and it's free. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on my Instagram, it's all over the place. I just want everybody to have access to the Gita because it's a guidebook for life. It's the best. It has everything we need to know to live a good life and to live a happy life, to live a faithful life. It's right in there. It's right in there. It's handed to us on a silver platter. Krishna just gave it to us. So yeah, check that out. It's my new
okay, is it
project.
Lissa Coffey, YouTube Lissa Coffey, or
youtube.com/Coffey Talk,
Okay, great.
COFFEYTALK. But I'm
Yeah,
also on
I'm done. It's a done
Facebook,
deal for.
Lissa Coffey Talk. I'm on Instagram, Lissa Coffey. I'm putting it on as many platforms as I can. Just
Good.
get it out there, you know?
Because that is, it's, you know, it doesn't matter where, well, it does matter. I think that sometimes we need to reflect on how far we've come, and that I do believe that the broken places and the challenges that we have ridden out this year in the best way and the highest way we knew how is those broken places. Many of us become out a lot stronger. We come out much stronger after the broken places come. They rebuild. You know, we know that many times broken bones are 10 times stronger when they heal. And that is like us, that we are in this process of recovering. And I think the work, I know you well enough that your work is always about enlightenment. You are the least, not the least. I want you for this. I want you to have always abundance in your life, but it's always about the work for you. It is so much more about the not the responsibility of holding the high watch for all, and then giving us that vision of through the Gita and so many other ways. So it's a done deal for me. I'll be catching up and listening every day now to it. I don't know how I didn't know this. I'm sure it was in some email that I missed. So
I've been having a lot of fun with it, you know, and
oh,
it's going to take me a while because I figured if I do 2 minutes a day every day for a year, that's 12 hours of video, you know.
yeah.
But 2 minutes a day, that's not bad. I can do that. I do kind of a
Right.
batch in sittings. But I love what
Oh,
you said about, a breakdown is not necessarily a breakdown. It could be a breakthrough. It's
right.
a breakthrough, it's an opening, it's an awakening. So
Yeah.
sometimes those little traumas or whatever that happen to us, oh, it's like you can be so grateful for that because it helped open up your life and helped change things for the good.
Yeah, I call them heaven quakes. It's like the earth shaking, but it's the heaven quake that's opening. And I do believe that those who are the visionaries, which you are one of, which I would say everybody that comes on this program is actually, that we are visionaries inspired by that greater sense of spiritual purpose. And it's aspiring us, as Amanda Gorman said, to step out of the shade of flame and unafraid, because right now it is giving us that higher spiritual purpose. We know what we just went through, and we know that we will always come through. But I am knowing right here that we come through with that highest vision, because I do want to leave my children and their children, and I want to leave this earth in a greater place. That's what I aspire to right now at this point in time in my age. I want them to have those spiritual tools that have helped me get through life. None of us have gotten through without a broken place in our lives, a breakdown that we've had a choice whether we broke through and and saw the heaven quake in it, and grew bigger, better, badder because of it. But it is each and every one of us. I would like to challenge each and every one of us to see the vision, see beyond the fear, whatever is out there. And that's my closing: to be brave enough to see it and brave enough to be it. Now you have to close. I took all the lines. I took all the Amanda Gordon closing lines.
I just echo that and say, just do your very best and let Brahman do the rest. That's all we can do.
Oh, perfect. I will remember that, remember that, remember that. I love you. I'm so glad you're in my life. You are the inspiration. You are such a wonderful inspiration. And that I always feel like we've made this divine appointment somehow.